Hey everybody, it's Patty. Hey, I'm doing random days today, and I thought some of you might want how to make a banner. GIMP is my go-to thing as far as doing what they call quote photoshopping, and I really like it. And this is version 2.10.24, and but it works pretty much the same in most of them. So I'm going to show you how to make a banner. Okay, so first of all, you had to have already made the size of a banner that you wanted, and you can do that by clicking New and then setting the size. Unless you already have a template. I don't ever use templates. I use just the size. I'm making this for a Facebook group, and I'm just copying the size of one I already have available, which was a 1920 by 1080. This is fairly standard, but there's lots of things online as to find the proper size for what you want in pixels. So anyway, I just put these words on here just now. That's really easy. And I mean, this isn't like basic GIMP, okay? I'm going to show you. I'm going to figure you already know how to make GIMP, how to work this. There are a zillion tutorials on how to do the basics. So I'm starting with an already set up size of banner here. I like to put a background layer, as you can see here at the bottom right. They show all your layers, and I'm using an already set up. I'm just copying off of one I've already done, so I have a lot of layers here, but you can ignore all of these pretty much. What I'm looking at here is your background layer, and that is this black. If you're doing a lot of detail work, I would use a black and a white just so that you can see what's going on, but I'll show you that in another video. Whatever you want your background layer to look like, usually it would be either black or white. And then here's our text layer, and you would use the text tool to do that. Now I'm going to hide this for right now because I have another background that I want to use. And is it that one? No, not that one. So I'm going to add a layer, and you do that by open as layers up here on the top left. And then I'm going to find, the layer that I want. This banner is for a book that's coming out next week. So I am looking for a good background for it, and I'm going to use the art that was given to me or that I bought for this. Now this is way too big, so what I need to do is go to layer. I'm on the layer and then resize it. So that would be scale layer, and we know our size already, 1920 by 1080. So we'll play with this a little bit. Let's see if I make the width 1920, what that. I just type that in and hit enter, and it's showing me that the height is going to be 1320. So let's try that and see if it fits that way. Which it does, but it's cutting off the top and the bottom. So what we can do, if we cut it down too much more, it's going to cause a black on the sides. which in a banner might or might not be okay. Let's play around with it and see what we can. You want to use your move tool, which is over here, and want to make sure it's clicked because we don't want to add any more text right now. And we can move this layer up and down. Do we want to see the ship or do we want to see the carriage? That's the question. I don't think we need to see all of the carriage. See like part of it, and then we'll see the ship, the top, a little bit better. Well, that looks pretty good. So what I'm going to do next is go down here to the bottom right where the layers are, and I'm going to right click and add an alpha channel. What that does is it adds an alpha channel. But what is an alpha channel? It's basically a transparency. It gives us the possibility to play with the transparency and the opacity, I guess, is better way to say it. And you come up here to where it says opacity 100%. And if you play with this, you make the opacity less or more. You can choose how dark this is because we have this black layer behind it. If you had a white layer behind it, you could choose how, like, make it brighter. But I like to make things darker because I write in noir. So I'm going to make this darker. And just for right now, I'll set it for like that. I may change this more later. Now, the other thing we need to add is this is a banner about books. So we're going to add the books, and I already set up a book thing. It's basically a pile of books that that I've already set up. And so it's not that one. Okay, I'm in the wrong place. What I want to do is get back to where I was. Excuse me. Because that has the pile of books that I set up already. And I was going to show you how to make that and didn't. Okay, we want our paperback tablet set, which I made already. And that's going to be way too big. So we're going to scale that down too. Just like we did before, we go to layer, scale layer. Now, there's a different way of doing this. It's actually better for when you have something that's really huge, because if we zoom out here, zoom out to like 25, we see that the picture of this set is like way bigger than our thing. So scaling it, you don't really know how big you want to scale it. So there's a scale tool right here, scale tool. We click that. Now we can scale this down to where we want it. You can move this too. So if it's still too big, we just kind of want it to be off to the side. We don't want it to be the whole thing, but we want it to be, you know, kind of off to the side here. So let's do that and see how that looks. It looks okay, but we don't have any words in here yet, so we might need to change the size of this later. Now, but the other thing, one thing that we see is that this background is way too bright. So I'm going to go back to my original photo or illustration that I bought, and I'm going to reduce the opacity on it even. And because that black is in the background, it's this black layer right here, it's darkening the whole thing without having to darken the original image or the original layer. Because then if I decide I want it brighter, I can just do this. It's really easy. Okay, so now you see how when I make this background darker, how the books pop out. That's good. That's what we want. So the next thing I'm going to do is add some words. Now, like I said, I'm taking this basically using a a banner that I had used before, and I kept all the layers, which if you're making a lot of things that are similar, it's good to do this to save your your whatever you're using and use it as a template for the next one. So I'm going to turn this on, and the last one was called the Three of Spades discussion group, but I'm going to change that. You can always change it back if you want. So all I need to really change is this up here, and it's nice because I already have the font set up, I already have the size, everything. I'm going to change the words. Now, the name of the book is obviously Brothers, so I'm changing the title here of the group to the Brothers Discussion Group. And what I have is a lot of groups about each one of my books that I have in my series. So now we can do some things with this if we want. We can make these have a drop shadow. We can make this do all kinds of stuff, which I might do because this background is still a little bit light up here at the top of the, and I want to be able to really see the words. So what I do here is I'll duplicate this. See how these little two squares down here, and it says create a duplicate of the layer. So I'm going to create a duplicate. I turn this one off. And the reason I did a duplicate because I'm going to do some things with this text, and then once I do that, I won't be able to change this text because it'll be turned into an image layer. So I want to have the original one here just in case I don't like what I did. So now when I say I don't like what I did, I mean like 2 years from now or something. If I want to change it immediately, I can always go to edit and undo whatever I undid. There's also a list of things that you can undo as well. So let's go back to here. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use the filters, light and shadow, and do a drop shadow. And I want the drop shadow color to be black. Now there's another way you can do this besides this, doing it like this. I'm going to do it like this. And I want the, let's see. Let's zoom in a little bit so you can see what's happening. Basically what it's doing is it's doing a shadow behind the letters, or if you can see that very well. Now I don't want it to be quite so far away from the words. I'm going to cut that down as far it is away from the words. And I'm going to raise the opacity. Just because I want it to be darker. And let's see. I'm going to unlink these. I need to how far it is away from, if you make it too far, as you can see, the letters are going up and down. And we don't want it to be so blurred. So our blur radius is going to be low. We're going to change the now if you want to change, like say if you see the black is going to the left of the letters, I actually want because of the light coming up from here, like this light is coming from the bottom, I actually want the lighting the way I did it in the book was to have it go that way. So what I can do is unlink this and play with this, making it go which direction I want. how far up and down. You can play with that. And as you see, the letters will move. The black behind the letters will move. So anyway, and you can see if you want to see what it looked like before, you just click on the preview and take that off, and you can see that I've added this drop shadow to it. So if you like that, and you notice that this has gone over here on the layers from being a text layer to being an image layer. And in that case, you can move this image layer around wherever you want. See, now something you want to notice is if you see my cursor here, when you're actually on the image, it'll change to the move. Before that, it'll be the finger will be there, pointing finger. See, now I can move this whole thing around wherever I want it. I'm just going to kind of leave it there because that's where I wanted it. But now there's another way to do this that is a little bit more complicated, but it gives you you get a little bit better control, I think. And that is, let's turn that off just so I can show you the second one, is you duplicate this like we did before. And then, but then you make this one, go to the title, the text one, and you make the color black. You make it color black. And then what you can do is you can just change a little bit here, and then invert the layer, and you have the same effect. And then you can go in here, make sure that you're on the layer that you want to be on. Because I changed it, the top is now the white. But you can move that around. You can move the other one around. You can do however you want. And you can make it as far away as you want. The only thing with doing this is if you want the drop shadow to be blurred, then you have to do it the way we just did it before, the first way. And actually, the easiest way to make sure that if you're doing it this way, is to do it with the black on top. And then you can make sure that the shadow is exactly where you want it. And then just invert them. But if you want it blurred, then the way I did the first way is the best. It's the easiest. You want it a little bit blurred going off. Alrighty, so now we have our layer, we have our books. Zoom out a little bit and make sure it looks good. Put a 50%. If you ever want to see what the whole thing looks like, just click on that last layer. And that's what the banner is going to look like. So that looks pretty good. I think we're done. So what you do now is you can save it. And that saves, GIMP uses a format called .xcf, and that is this GIMP tool, saving the file so you can work on it later. Now, if you want to send it somewhere, you have to export. And the way you do that is you go into File and you export as, and then you decide where you want it. I don't want it there. Oh, wait a minute, maybe I do. I want it there. So I want to call this Brothers Discussion, because it's a Brothers Discussion group. And then we can export it. And then, however much of this you want. You don't really need to save most of this stuff, but just quickness, I'll do that. And then what it does is it compresses everything and makes it into a PNG, or you can make it into basically whatever file type you want. This is awesome for making stuff into, like, for example, PDFs. Well, I like this so much because it's very easy to use. It's totally free and it's amazing. So anyway, you can tell I'm a GIMP fan. So that's it. We have made a banner and we've done it very quickly. Next time I make one of these little bundle things, I'll do a video for you to show you how to do that. But that's it for today. A little random day. And we make a banner. So I hope you have some rest of the day. Storming here. But other than that, it's going to be a good day, I think. See you later.